What is up, guys? Bolt here once again. We're going to be diving into Broken Arrow. We're going to be looking at the arsenal of each individual specialization. That is right, before the game releases, so that you guys can really look at whatever you will be, you get to play with when the game is out. And I will also do a couple of battle group overviews or deck reviews, or like how I built my deck kind of video, so that you guys have something to start with when the game is out. Because when it is out and you don't know anything about any of the decks, you might want a hand to guide you. Now, speaking of guide, I do have tutorials out already. I will be putting them on the screen if I haven't, if I remember, and otherwise check it out on the main page or in the description. There will be a playlist linking you to the tutorials that I have for this game as of yet, so that could also give you a head start. So right now, if we go into the army builder for the US, we have the US Marine Corps, we have the Armor Brigade, we have the Airborne, we have Striker Cavalry Regiment, and we have Special Operations Forces. Now for Russian side, we have the VDV, Guard Tank Brigade, Motorized Infantry, Coastal Troops, and we have the Mechanized Infantry. So we're going to start off with Russia. Actually, you know what? Let's start off with the Spec Ops, because that is actually a new one that has been added to the game. And we're gonna look at each individual unit, and yeah, just try to have some fun here. So to do that, I am gonna have to go into the hangar instead. We're gonna go to the Spec Ops, and we're gonna go through each individual unit here. And the cards are just absolutely beautiful. Look at that. That looks really, really good. So you get that by clicking on this button here. But let's start off with the recon, because the Spec Ops, the specialization is all about stealth. Okay, it is all about stealth. And to start off, we have the Sentinel, RQ-170 Sentinel. This might seem very familiar because Iran actually kind of try to copy this, and they have their own drones that are very familiar or similar to this one. Whereas you might be more familiar with the MQ-9 Reaper instead. So the Sentinel is stealthy, okay, 1.75 stealth, which is really good compared to 1.25 on the Reaper, for example. It is decent. It can laser designate targets for you, so it's not just recon. It can also laser designate. The viewing optics or optics range is 4500, whereas the Reaper is also the same. So what you're getting is more stealth, but also slightly faster. Slightly faster. From 200 to 300. Okay, so it's not that bad. It's quite a cheap drone, 150, and you get good stealth. Now the other drone that we have that is available to us in this specialization, but also in some of the other ones, is the MQ-9 Reaper. Now this can be customized with its own loadouts. So for example, you can have the there we go. I don't know why it wasn't showing up there. You can have either Hellfires or JDAMs. So Hellfires, really good against armor, obviously. We also have JDAMs, which are bombs that can be guided towards a laser designated target. And on the outer pylons, we can have Hellfires, we can have the JDAMs, but also Stingers and Sidewinders. So that is pretty cool. Now, if we move over to the infantry side of the recon tab here, we have the Green Berets. These are awesome. So there's 2 or 3 even versions of this. So we have the ones with the flash. These are the quad tube, like napalm launchers, basically. These are really good against infantry. They are top attack, okay, which is very interesting. So they could destroy some very light vehicles because the penetration value is very low. And it is a napalm. So really good against infantry. Really not good against armor, but anything that is unarmored, like a truck, like a UAZ, like a gas, it will be able to take that out. And you do get 12 rockets, so that's pretty cool. And besides that, you have flashbangs, which is also really good against infantry. Now you can go for the XM25 Punisher loadout, which gives you the XM25 Punisher. This is a grenade launcher, can be targeted, or, well, can be used to target helicopters, which is awesome. Light vehicles, of course, and, well, infantry. That is the no-brainer there. Pretty good penetration as well, 25 heat, which is really not that bad. Good range, really good range. Quite a high damage against infantry. And besides that, you get the SCAR and Mark 48, and you do get a nice assault rifle as well. Now, I won't go through all the stats of the guns, because then the video will turn into a very, very long video. As I said, I have made tutorials that goes over all of the stats that you see in these kind of menus, and those tutorials are linked below and have been shown in the beginning of this video. Now, the last loadout you can get is the sniper rifle loadout, which gives you the M107 anti-material rifle. Obviously, really good against vehicles as well with 40mm kinetic. Good against infantry, it's just going to delete them. And it can also be used to target helicopters. And it's basically going to ignore 100% of the cover of whatever you're firing at. So if there's infantry in the forest, it doesn't matter. If there's infantry in buildings that you're shooting at, it does not matter. It's going to ignore that cover completely. Then we have the Mark 22, which also ignores all of the cover. So just think about that. You have two sniper rifles. We have a 338 Lapua Magnum, and we have a basically 50 cal anti-material rifle. Both firing at infantry, it's going to delete those dudes really quickly. Now, besides that, we also have a DMR, which ignores 50% of all cover. So then you have three rifles that ignore the majority of the enemy's cover. And then we have also a SCAR that is a 7.62 and also ignores 50% of the cover. So it's a really good target or unit to have. Then we have Pararescue. Now the unit card here, this is probably my favorite unit card. And I do, want to give props to just all the art that they're putting into the game as well. Now these guys, if we just compare the stats here with the Green Berets, just the basic stats, they have more armor, they have more health, they also have more squad members. So that's why the health and armor is up. Same optics, less stealth. The Green Berets have most stealth here in comparison. They move at the same rate. And besides that, these guys have smoke with this loadout. These guys have the laser designation, which is really good if you want to get behind the enemy lines and do some shenanigans there. So the Pararescue has two loadouts. We have flashbangs, we have the slug, we have a shotgun, Mark 46, so LMG that is suppressed, and we have an HK416 that is also suppressed. Besides that, we can go for the Special Tactics team. So this moves them into the STT instead of Pararescue. It doesn't change much of the stats here, but if you pay attention to the HP and armor, you do get reduced armor. So these guys are really made to, kick in the door, throw in a couple flashbangs and let the shotguns do the work. These guys are more for recon and possibly defending against helicopters and that kind of stuff. So you get a Stinger, really good actually, 2 kilometers range for aircraft at low altitude, 1500 for high altitude units. You do only get 4 missiles, so you might take out a heli or 2, but it's not your main anti-air or your main man-pad anyways. But it is really cool to have that. Besides that, we have this MRGGS, which I have never heard before. Ignores 50% of the cover, so I would say that's a DMR kind of category in this case. Pretty good range on that and good penetration. Then we have the CAG AMG, which does not ignore armor, so this is more of a light machine gun situation. And then we have the MRGGA, which is an assault rifle here in this case. So pretty good unit to have. It can be airdropped, it has smoke, it has a laser designator. Definitely gonna be one of my favorite units to use. Then we have the Rangers. Now these are your badasses on the ground in the recon tab here. So these also have 2 kind of specializations or customized profiles. We have the Close Quarters, which gives you an AT4. We have a Mark 46, we have an M320 grenade launcher, and we have the 416 as well. So the AT4 is actually not that bad. If we go into the simple overview, 600 millimeters of penetration there, of heat, and does a good amount of damage as well. 300 meters range though, so you're not gonna, engage tanks at long distance, which is fair. And then you do get a nice amount of anti-infantry stuff. Then we have the Standoff, which is a bit more heavy duty, I would say. Now you do lose a bit of armor, but you get the Moz, which is 600 meters and 600 heat, whereas the AT4 is 300 meters and 600 heat. So you get double the distance here with your anti-tank. You get the SCAR Mark 20, so you actually get a really nice DMR. Ignores 50%. You get the Mark 48 LMG, HK13 with the underbarrel grenade launcher, and we get the SCAR H. So really nice infantry to use. But do pay attention to the armor and HP when you make these adjustments, because it does change that. Okay. Then we have Ranger Snipers. These guys are awesome. So we have suppressed snipers. We have the M2010, 100% ignoring of any cover, and we have the M110, which is a beautiful DMR, 50% ignores cover, and then we have the Mark 12 DMR as well, 50% cover. Now I might say DMR when it's a sniper rifle, I might say sniper rifle when it's a DMR. If you're a military person and you're cringing at what I say, don't worry about it, okay? I might make mistakes here. So we have the Flyer GMV, which is a standalone recon Humvee, or truck. I wouldn't really call it a Humvee there. It can also be customized with quite a lot. Now, the most important thing here is that it's very fast, 120 forward speed, and then off-road is 60, backwards is 30, but that doesn't really matter. Decent optics, you know, 1200 meters range, not that bad. It can be airdropped as well. It can also carry 6 men, so if you want to, you can also put the Rangers in there, you can put the STTs in there, Green Berets, Ranger Snipers, even put 2 of those. Pretty cool. Now you could customize it with the 50, Mark 47 grenade launcher, which can fire at also helicopters, GAU 19, which is a chain gun, which is going to be absolutely insane. I don't know what this is here. It says cluster. So I don't know what they mean with this. It might be like it might do cluster type of damage, if that makes sense, because it is a chain gun. Don't know quite what that means. So minigun, excuse me. And then we have the M230 chain gun. You can see that this guy obviously does 100mm of heat penetration, which is for 15 points. That's a steal right there. We also have the M-ATV. Now you can up armor this, giving you 130 on the front against heat, 120 on the side. The top and rear don't change. But sometimes if you up armor a vehicle, it cannot be airdropped anymore. So do pay attention to that. This one cannot be airdropped in general, but some of them, when you do up armor it, they cannot be airdropped. And this is really cool with this sniper team up there, or sniper guy. That is really dope. It has its own sniper up there. Isn't that cool? So in terms of weaponry on this bad boy, we can put the M2, we can put in a Mark 19 grenade launcher, we can put another 50 and a Javelin on top. Okay, Javelin is top attack ATGM, 1500 meters range, 750 heat pen. Or we can put a grenade launcher and a Javelin. That is just awesome. Okay, I would probably go for the 50 and Javelin, but that is really cool. We're gonna definitely make a deck with this specialization. We have the Arsov, which is a, you know, again, a fast buggy. It has a 50 cal on there, which can be turned into a Mark 47 grenade launcher. We have the MQ9 Reaper and the RQ170 Sentinel that we already went over, but in summary here, the recon tab is very nice. You can have Green Berets and STTs together, or Rangers and STTs together and just clap cheeks. Then you have the sniper teams, which have the suppressed loadout if you want, or anti-material, which we actually forgot to mention, which gives you the AT4, besides the M107 anti-material rifle. You have a lot of really cool units here to use, and they are very, very stealthy. All of them are very, very stealthy here. So in the infantry tab, of course, we have the Delta Force. This is a 12-man squad, good HP, good armor, not that much stealth, of course, you know, 1.75. It's a big squad as well, hard to hide. And they come with a variety of weapons. We have the HK416 assault rifle. We have the Mark 46 LMG, which is suppressed. We have the M32 grenade launcher. We have 3 shotguns, and we have flashbangs. Now, this is the close quarters loadout. If we go for standoff, we trade in some of the anti-infantry stuff, like shotgun, grenade launcher, and flashbang, for the M72 A10 Law. In my opinion, not really worth it. We have the CAG AMG, which is, I would say, a DMR or light machine gun. I'm not quite sure. And then we have this guy as well, which is a DMR, I would say. Ignores 50% of cover. Honestly, go for the close quarters and get them against infantry. Rangers, a 9-man team. Really, really fun to play with as well. We have the RARS 84mm heat. Does 450mm of heat pen against armor and helicopter. So this one cannot be fired at infantry, while some of them can be. We have a Scar H battle rifle, M249 light machine gun, 2 of these. We also have 2 grenade launchers and 5 M4A1s. Now besides that, you can also go for the Bunker Buster loadout, which trades in the Scar and the RARS for the small D, which can be fired at infantry. Okay, this is a high explosive rocket that can be fired at infantry. I have 5 of them. And then you also have light machine guns, grenade launchers, and the M4. So you trade in some, you know. Is it worth it? Well, it depends what you're using them on, I guess. Now the RARS the Raws is not the best AT, but if you want something, you know, you at least can deal with some light vehicles there. But if you're using mainly infantry on infantry action, Bunker Buster will be the way to go. Then we have the Rangers Mark 47 AGL. Now these guys, of course, carry the Mark 47 AGL. So this is a support unit. You get 2 grenade launchers. Very effective, by the way, grenade launchers. They will delete infantry or actually stun light vehicles as well. So I would highly recommend putting some support units like that in your deck in the future. But don't worry, speaking about decks, I am going to build a couple and then show you how I've built it and what the reasoning behind it is with my experience in the game so far. I'll do like 2 Russian ones and 2 American ones to get you started. Then we have the Ranger Raws. Once again, this is a like more dedicated group, which gives you 3 anti-tank weapons with 450mm heat, and you have assault guns or assault rifles. Then we have the Ranger Stingers, which of course gives you stingers, 4 stingers in this one. You also have the MG338, which is a very cool like machine gun. Can we even see that? Yeah, this guy here. Reminds me of Arma 3 actually. And then we have the M4A1. Now besides that, you can also give them the Javelin instead of the Stingers. You get 4 Javelins. In my opinion, you definitely want some man pads, but if you don't want to spend too much money on man pads and waste a Ranger on it, honestly, the Javelin top attack might be a better deal here. Now in the vehicle tab, we don't really have a lot in the Spec Ops, okay? Spec Ops is meant to be combined. Of course, any specialization is meant to be combined with something else. And if you don't combine the Spec Ops with something that has a good amount of vehicles, you're going to be in trouble. But the only thing you do have is the War Pig, the MLTV War Pig. Absolutely no armor on this thing, but it has a lot of weapons. So it comes with 2 M240s. You can put a 50 cal on it, which trades in one of the M240s. You can put a Mark 47 grenade launcher. We can put a Fletcher. Now the Fletcher is interesting. The Fletcher has 1300 meters range. You get 16 of them. They can be laser guided or guided towards a laser designated target. It can fire at infantry, vehicles, helicopters, and airplanes, which is very interesting to me. I want to use it. I want to use it just to yeet them forward and see what it does. And last but not least, we have the TOW2 Bunker Buster. Now this can be fired at infantry. This is not the top attack TOW2Bs. It can be fired at infantry and vehicles. Not that much heat pen, but against infantry it's going to go absolutely nuts. Now in the support tab, we have nothing again. So you want to combine this with something that has a good amount of like maybe anti-air for sure. So you want something with anti-air to combine it with. Preferably some artillery as well and good supply trucks. So in the heli tab, we do have a lot of options here. We have the Killer Egg, so this a little bird here. It comes stock with 2 50 cal miniguns, which is awesome, and you get 2 GAU 19s. So, excuse me, so you have the GAU 17, which is a 7.62, and you have the GAU 19B, which is a 50 cal, I would say. I would call that a 50. It's it does a bit more than a 50 cal would, because it's, you know, it's gonna fire really, really fast, basically. So it's really cool. So instead of that, we can upgrade it with or change the weapons for Hydro Rockets, Dagger Rockets. Now some of these can be laser guided, which includes a Dagger, whereas the Hydra cannot be. And we can also go for Hellfires, which obviously can be laser guided, but are great against vehicles because they are top attack. Then we can get Stingers, so if you want to use them for anti-air purposes, like on the flanks to defend against recon helis or whatnot, you can do that. And the same is true for the other ports. So if you want to make it fully anti-air, you can put Stingers on this thing and have 2 Stinger launchers with 4 total, so 2 on each side. And if you put like one of these on a flank and a helicopter tries to sneak past you, well, it is not going to. What I would use it for, honestly, is, yeah, maybe like 1 Stinger pod and then 1 of the GAU 19s, because having some miniguns against infantry is really, really cool to have, and they just tear through infantry really quickly. And in any case, you have the GAU 17, so you could just do whatever you want and go full Stinger, and you still have 2 GAU 17s, which are 7.62. So it's not going to do too much, but you still have something. And they can also be used against helis. But I really love having just bullets being dropped on the dropped on the enemy position like crazy. So I'll probably go for something like that. We have the Apache AH-64E Guardian. Now this one has the longbow attachment there, so the radar dish, I call it the longbow attachment. You can go for stingers on the wingtips, so these are the outside bits there. Or you can get ECM, which increases your ECM from 15 to 25%. So this is just 25% chance that the incoming, well, reduction of the chance of the incoming missile hitting you. So that is substantial. Okay, let me put it that way. That is very substantial. On the outer pylons, you can put rockets. So we have Hydras, which are unguided. Or we can put the dagger-guided missiles, which are guided. Now, in terms of distance, there's a bit of a distance difference as well. So if we can do that, there we go. So the daggers are 1400 meters range, whereas the Hydra rockets are 1200 meters range. So besides them being guided, the daggers are also, you know, better for some more ranged missions that you might have. And the rocket pods do look really cool. Or you can go for Jagums. Now, the Jagums are really interesting. They can be fired at vehicles, so not infantry. They are top attack. They do a ton of damage. Good range as well. 200 meters, not 200 kilometers. 2,000 meters, excuse me. 2,000 meters, 2 kilometers. Okay, I had a brain fart there for a second. And this is kind of a cool detail that you can now see. It can be destroyed by APS, which is really cool. And it shows the maximum speed as well. And yeah, that is just really cool to have. So if there's like a lot of different types of ATGMs, you might want to go for the fastest one so that you're in and out as fast as possible. So you can make it really expensive. I would definitely get the ECM and then maybe put some dagger rockets and then some Jagums in there just to have a mixture. So the Osprey, really fast helicopter or vertibird, whatever you want to call it, this monstrosity there. Great at transporting infantry, great for transporting supplies as well. It's very fast, but it is a big old bird with basically no stealth. You can also put GAU-17s on it, but I wouldn't really bother. Then we have the Chinook MH-47G SOAR. Now you can also put SEED on this or ECM on this. I would definitely recommend that. You can put different types of weapons, from a M240 to a GAU-17, which is 762, and a GAU-21, which is 50. And you can put 2 on this, 4 on this bad boy in total, which is basically a flying warship. Now we have the little bird here for more either recon purposes, if you want to call it that. Can also transport units, but you can put the optronic ball on this thing, which increases your optics range from 1000 to 750 meters, which is very, very good. And for only 35 points, you get a decent recon unit. MH-60M DAP. Now this is a really interesting one because I love the DAP and I love the different types of loadouts you can put on this bad boy. So stock, it comes with the GAU-17 and M2 30mm autocannon. Okay. But what you can do is put Hydra rockets or stingers on the outer pylons. I would put stingers. And then the inner pylons, instead of the chain guns, you can get Hydra rockets, dagger guided, or Hellfires. I love using helicopters with guns. Okay, so I would definitely go for something like this. If I do want some stingers, but if I want to keep them nice and cheap and just have chain guns there to delete infantry, this is what I would go for. And they also can carry 6 men, so you can put some of your rangers in there as well. We also have the MH-60M SOAR. Now, in terms of base stats, armor and HP is the same, carry capacity is the same, but the SOAR can also carry supplies. So that is cool, okay? So you can put, besides infantry, you can put some supplies in there. Besides that, the stealth is the same, speed is the same, and everything else is the same here. So with the SOAR, we can change the M240 to the GAU-17 or GAU-21. We also have the more stealthy MH-60X Silent Hawk. This is only for transporting infantry. Really good stealth, 2.5 compared to 1.25, so you get double the stealth here. And we have the RH-66 Comanche. Now this thing is insane. Good stealth as well, 2.5. Whereas the AH-64 is 1.25, so you get double the stealth once again. You can increase its optics to 2400 from 2000. On the outer pylons, you can put rockets, so the unguided Hydra, the guided daggers, 2 Hellfires or 4 Stingers. You can put the same basically on the middle pylons and also on the inner pylons. What I would do with this is, since it is fully stealth, okay, since it's fully stealth, I would probably want to keep it on the flanks and just put either Stingers on it or, yeah, and that is it. Or you can decide to make it fully anti-tank and just go crazy with Hellfires, but when I say crazy with Hellfires, you can only get 6. So you're a little bit limited there. So that is kind of the thing I want to point out here. I would probably just go for Stingers, okay? And just do it like this. And just put these guys on the flanks. That is what I would probably do. 495 points, you get a Stealth Heli with really good optics, with 4 Stingers, and some rockets, and you can put it on the flanks and just chill there. Now in the air tab, we have some really cool units. We have the AC-130. This is the Ghost Rider. You can give the Spooky 2 loadout, which gives you the 105mm howitzer. 1600 meters range, can fire at infantry and vehicles. Not much damage, heat, but it has a good blast radius, so it is mainly for, you know, high explosives. We have the 40mm Bowforce, which can fire at helicopters as well, which is really cool. But once again, only, you know, low amount of heat damage. Then we have the GAU-12, which is against infantry, vehicles, and helicopters. I haven't used it yet. I haven't been very successful with testing out the new decks because we had limited time and I had even less time. So we'll have to see how that does. Now in the ramp, you can put Griffin missiles. These are ATGMs, okay, but mainly for infantry and vehicles. So they can also fire at infantry. On the starboard pylon, you can put Stormbreakers and Hellfires. So Stormbreakers are bombs. They can be laser guided. And the Hellfires, obviously, you know what they are. But that could be really powerful. And on the port side, you can do the same thing. So starboard, whatever you can do on the starboard pylon, you can put on the port with the Stormbreakers and the Hellfires. Now, we have the B2 Spirit. The stealth on this thing is not actually that insane, if you think about what we had with the Comanche with the 2.5 stealth. But we can put a tactical nuke on this thing. We can put 16 cruise missiles. We can put 2 Moabs, basically. 30,000 pound Moabs. Or bombs. Which is nuts. We can put 16 2,000 pound bombs. We can put 16 AGMs, so JSOWs. These are cluster, by the way. We can put 16 Mark 84 2,000 pound bombs, or we can put 80 500 pound bombs, which I think will look very cool on the battlefield for sure. But obviously what people do is get the nuke. What I would do is probably just get the cruise missiles. Now we also have the Nighthawk. This thing looks really cool, and it is nice to see the Nighthawk back in the game, back in a game, because I always loved using this in games like Wargame or Warno. We can put JDAMs on it, 500 pound JDAMs. We can put 1,000 pounds on it. We can put a 2,000 pound JDAMs on it. We also have 2 1,000 pound cluster bombs, or we can put 2 JASMs. These are just 2 cruise missiles. I wouldn't put the cruise missiles on it. If you're getting the Nighthawk, you want to get the bombs. Okay. Now the F-22 Raptor, the Beauty, really good plane. You can put bombs on it. But honestly, the only thing that is worth on this plane is getting the AIM 260 JATMs, which are very long range air-to-air, so 9 kilometers range against aircraft, and you can put 4 of these on this bad boy. And it already comes stock with MRAMs, so the AIM 120s, and 2 Sidewinders. But the Raptor, again, not the best stealth here compared to everything else. The only good effective use of the Raptor that I have seen is just to circle at your base with the JATMs. Okay, so that you always have a plane around and you always have very long range missiles to take down anything that comes out. But if you do want to use it for bombing runs, which I don't recommend, you can put the 500 pound, 1,000 pound HE, 1,000 pound cluster, or 4 Stormbreakers. That is about it. You can do the same for the starboard bay there. But the F-35 is my preferred bomber. It is stealthy, so the same stealth as the F-22. But what you can do is you can either give it more AMRAMs if you really want to make it a fighter, or you can give it a lot of bombs. Now, 500-pound bombs I would just steer away from. They are cheap, but I would just go big or go home. So I usually like to put in the JDAMs. Okay, you can put either HE ones or cluster. So this is HE, this one is cluster. Cluster is really good. So if you want to take care of vehicles, that is the way to go. You can also put Stormbreakers. These are just bombs. These are not cruise missiles. You can put seed missiles on this thing, which is actually not a bad idea. I mean, F-35s are relatively stealthy, so you might, you might not get detected. Or you can put cruise missiles on it. Now this is still a work in progress there, but you can put a cruise missile on it. What I usually go for is I get the 2,000-pound bombs, so that I have, there we go. So that I have 2 bombs that I can bomb 2 separate targets with, and I always have some AMRAMs there. So the MC-130H is mainly your transporter if you want to do air insertions or paradropping. You have 64 seats in this bad boy and 20,000 supply capacity or heavy lift weight. And these don't fly that high, so this is actually pretty nice to have. Good ECM on this thing as well. So that is the Special Operations Forces. So you really do lack in the support and vehicle tab, so you want to combine it with something that is strong there. Because you don't have any anti-air basically besides your manpads. You don't have no tanks, which makes sense. You have nothing in terms of anti-air, artillery, or anything. Supply trucks, forget it. So you really want to combine it with something, and it could be either Marines or armored. Airborne might be really good, but then you lack still in the vehicle section, but it fully depends on what you're trying to do in your matches. But that is it for the Special Operations Forces. I'm gonna be diving through all of these and give you guys kind of a chill rundown of all these different types of units. And I will also add in a couple of decks that I have built with my experience in the game so far, so that you will be off to a running start when the game is out. With that said, I hope to see you in the next one.